Hey guys, I wanted to make this video to give you a bit of a rundown of what the FYOP program and what basically your offer is from Moody at this point. Um, those of you that are getting this video, the reason why you're getting this is because your offer is really unique. And I should probably introduce myself first. I probably did in the email that you're going to see as well. But my name is Christian Martinson. I'm the director of the First Year Online program. And I also adjunct teach a number of the classes for the program and so forth. I am a graduate of Moody from the seminary. I have my master's of divinity from Moody, and now I actually live in California, and I'm a church planter. I'm a pastor of a church here in Southern California, and do that while working for Moody, which is a great remote position to have. The uniqueness about your program, I'm going to try to be as quick as I can and overview this. The reality is, and sorry for my casual attire today, I'm actually a bit under the weather and about to head off to a family wedding this weekend. And I'm realizing that I'd love to give all of you a phone call, and I'm still going to make myself available after next week, but I'm not going to be able to make any calls to most of you until then. I wanted to give you some of this information so you can be processing with your loved ones, family, pastors, and friends, and helping make your decision. But basically, in short, you guys that are getting this message and video from me have a very unique offer from Moody, where Moody has offered you the opportunity to come to do the FYOP program, which I'm going to describe what the first year online or FYOP program is in just a second here. To do that this year, starting in 2019, and then you would transition to the main campus in fall 2020. The other option is to simply wait this fall, do not do anything, and then come to campus in the spring of 2020 in January. So you would take a semester off, you'd be a semester behind essentially, and then you'd come to Chicago in the spring of 2020. The other option, and I've gotten special approval to be able to include this as well, is that you will now be able to do FYOP just in the fall and come to main campus in the spring. A number of you have asked or emailed about that, if it's possible to go ahead and do first year online program just in the fall and then come in the spring. And that is great news, are going to allow you to do that. Now, some of you will still want to do the full FYOP year. Some of you will maybe want to do the take, just to come in the spring. Most of you should probably want to go ahead and do FYOP this fall so you don't get behind. I highly recommend that. I highly recommend all of you doing FYOP either for the one semester or for the full year. Many students will just realize because of the cost that you get to save money with FYOP, or because you'll start working jobs or serving in church positions, or you're living in a unique situation. Maybe you want to take the whole year to do FYOP and just come next fall, and we've got a number of students that have already signed up to do that. And also, if you have already signed up for one and you want to change it, it is possible to do that still. So just let us know as soon as possible, okay? I also want to go ahead and give you my cell phone number so that you can call me or text me even this weekend. Text is the best. I have access. I'm at a wedding, but a family weekend, but I will text you back. I probably won't call you back unless it's an emergency. But if you want to text me, my number is 336-509-5041. And we can get you just answer any quick questions that you have. But let me just explain what the first year online program is, and then reiterate kind of what the options are for you guys. In short, the first year online program was designed for students just like you. Most of the students who do FYOP are not offered to come in the middle of the year to the main campus. We're going to have also a number of the FYOP students are not offered to come in the middle of the year to main campus. You guys are a select group where we simply do not have space on the campus. All of FYOP students are select students, meaning that we have a unique problem at Moody where we have more qualified, amazing students that we want at Moody than we have beds for. We're the only Bible school on earth with that problem. All other Bible schools are looking for more students. They have enough beds and they're trying to fill them. Moody has the unique problem, for lack of a better term, that we have more qualified students than we have space for them. Now, this isn't like by the thousands or anything, and we aren't just offering anybody that didn't get in space to do that. Many of you applied very late, so you're highly qualified students, or whatever reason it is. The reality is we simply didn't have space on main campus, and we want you at Moody, and the FYOP program was designed to keep you. We do happen to know this year that there are some spaces that are going to open up in the spring, so we have that kind of a unique piece of the program. But I'm going to explain FYOP just in what it looks like for the full year. But the assumption would be if you do come in the spring, you'd be obviously just doing it for the fall semester. Now, the program is just this, that you basically are already admitted to the main campus. You can go on. I'm not going to go through each and every one of these things maybe in tons of detail. I just want you to know that there is this website, moody.edu/FYOP, or you can just Google Moody Bible Institute FYOP and you can find the page. The big differences and advantages of the FYOP program, it's all about getting you to main campus in Chicago. So all the courses that you take are going to be your first year Moody main campus courses that are going to transfer into any of the main campus degree programs. The big difference is we have a lot of other online programs at Moody, but those classes don't all transfer to main campus programs. Those are online degree programs. So the online classes that you take in FYOP are quite different because they are all classes for the main campus degree programs. And then you're also in classes with only other FYOP students. So you're going to be in class with the same group, and you guys are going to be taking classes kind of together as a cohort throughout the year, and then your professors are going to understand that you're a unique group of FYOP students, which is kind of special, and it's a much more tight-knit, cohesive group of students to take classes with throughout the year, and there's just a lot of good feel advantages of that. We also do things with you as a program where we have you kind of join Facebook group, and so you can interact on social media as well as interacting in the class as well. And I'll explain just how an online class works here in a second. The other thing we do is we pair you with a personal Moody mentor, which is either well, the Moody mentor is essentially that Moody face, that Moody person that we give you throughout the year to walk with you. So the men are going to have a male, and then the women will have a female that'll make themselves available to you anytime, but you're going to regularly interact with them about just what you're going through with life, spirituality, and academics, just to have that touch point of relationship to walk with you throughout the year. So they'll do some kind of devotional type of interaction with you, but also just kind of relationally, just making sure there's a point person that's walking with you throughout the year, that you have someone supporting you, resourcing you, and that kind of thing, and that you know that you can call at any time. And that you won't actually have that when you come to main campus. You won't have that kind of personal commitment from somebody. You won't have that in the other online programs. That's only FYOP that we make that available. And then you do have the opportunity with that person to kind of have a small group. You'll meet either on FaceTime or by the phone to be able to interact with kind of the small group of guys or girls throughout the year, just to build some community and camaraderie as you go through the program. Obviously, the classes are online. I'll talk about that in a second. And then we do this experience called, well, we call it a ministry internship experience, because it's not a formal end of program internship where you get the credit at the end of the degree program, like most of the degrees at Moody are. What this internship experience that we ask you to do in the fall semester, so even those of you that are coming in the spring, you'll still do this. And the huge advantage is we do this for you. We're not trying to trip you up and see if you're Moody material or something like that. What we're trying to do is to give you some kind of experience on the front end of your program to either affirm, hey, this is exactly the direction I want to go in and study as far as my degree goes, and also, or not. So if you're looking at doing missions or youth ministry or whatever it is, we want you to do some kind of internship-like experience. Not a huge one. It's not a full-blown like 8 to 5 type of internship for a year, anything close to like that. The other thing is we don't have you start this right away, so we'll ease into this once the semester starts. We'll explain it through the orientation in the beginning of the semester, so no rush, no need to stress out and ask a ton of questions at the moment about that. We'll give you plenty of time for that later. But the idea is that this internship can, let's say I want to be a youth pastor. Well, after actually doing some youth pastoring in this ministry experience, I realized, you know what, I do love youth, but I think I actually want to leave the door open to do more kind of like mainstream pastoral ministry in a local church, or maybe I want to do something overseas, and I'm not really sure that the classic kind of youth pastor degree program is the best fit for me. That's great. That means that the internship experience helped you to discern that maybe you want to consider something else for your degree, or maybe you want to keep the same degree, but you want to focus in a lot of your maybe your extracurriculum activity, or just your what service you do in the local church throughout your college career. Maybe you want to look at that a little bit differently to get some different experiences. So the idea is that we're helping set you up for success. We want you to get a little bit of experience. And we also want you to do something you can put on a resume, so that when you are kind of applying for positions with other either Moody students or just students and graduates of schools in general, you have a bit of an advantage that, hey, I had this experience here early on in my degree program. It was really great. Here's the mentor that I had for that, and they can write you a recommendation and that sort of thing. So it's all for your benefit and to help affirm your call and direction in ministry, regardless of what that is. And we can answer a lot more questions about that, but that's basically a huge benefit of the FYOP program. The other thing, kind of related to that, is the only reason why you're able to do something like that is because you're going to be, at least this fall semester, available. You're not going to be bound to a brick and mortar campus in Chicago like all the other students are. So in addition to that, we just want your frame of reference, your mindset to be, ask the Lord, Father, is there one thing, at minimum, one thing you want me to do? Or what is? It's more like not if there is. I'm confident there is. So I want you to ask the Father God, what is the one thing you want me to do? Maybe that's an adventure. You know, I've had students that they decided to do a cross-country trip with their dad because they could during FYOP, and they can stay up to date with classes by going to coffee shops along the way or whatever it is. Other students go on missions trips with their churches and another ministry because they can. Someone else might go live with a relative or loved one overseas or in a different state, or go visit friends while they're doing the online program. We want you to do some kind of experience that you wouldn't have gotten to do if you weren't doing FYOP. Allow the Lord to work through this year or this semester, however long it is. Okay, so we just have some amazing testimonies of how students use that, and then I just want to promise you that God is going to use it regardless. We have students just that have the most amazing things that the Lord has done that they had no idea that would work out the way that it did, where it was a job opened up or a ministry opportunity opened up, or just it gave them the chance with all the other siblings out of the house to really connect with a parent or a friend or a loved one. We've even had students that's like that found out that a loved one got really sick, and they they would have had to drop out of school anyway, and the Lord used that they happened to be home with FYOP. They didn't have to get further behind in school. They could stay up to speed in school and just be there for that loved one that was sick and recovering and needed kind of a close family member to be there for their health purposes. So just to open up your heart and your spirit and your mind for how the Lord might be able to use the year in a really exciting way. So the final thing is that we do on the front end of the program give you a Chicago campus experience for your orientation week. And that's completely paid for if you can just get the campus. And that week is July 8th to 12th, 2019, and is an amazing opportunity for you to just get envisioned for Chicago. You live in the dorms, you eat in the cafeteria. Actually, the better one. It's the upstairs one that all the employees use, so it's actually the best food that Moody has. And not that the basement is terrible, it's just not quite as good as what we're going to serve you during the week on campus. And then you get some ministry experience in Chicago. We get you a flavor of the different neighborhoods and the diversity of the city, and then ultimately just have a ton of fun together, getting to know the staff and the other students in the program. And we really we offset the price for that so that you don't have any cost. It's all covered in the cost of the program. Besides just traveling to get to Moody, all your costs are covered once you get there. So that week, July 8th to 12th, we hope all of you can come. The reality is it's usually about half of the students can come, half of them can't because of jobs. Or commitments or whatever it is this summer. So if you can't, we understand. We do have an online kind of orientation that just gives you the nuts and bolts to set you up for success for the program. But those of you that do come to campus, we're going to have a blast, and we're going to prep you. In the mornings, we usually go over just things to build your year for success, to prepare you for Moody, and just get you off on the right foot and just have a ton of fun. It's one of the highlights of my year because I get face-to-face exchange with you students, and we just have a lot of fun, worship together, pray together as well, and just spiritually bond and connect as well. It's an amazing week. So I encourage all of you to really try to get there. If there's anything you can do to get there, July 8th to 12th, we'd love to have you. And then a couple other benefits of the program: automatic registration. We register you for your FYOP classes, so you don't have to worry about that kind of thing. And now just a little bit, you can click this thing for just an overview of FAQs that we've gathered. If that'll open, hopefully it'll open. Not, there we go. And you can kind of scroll through some of these as well. It gives you an overview of things. The two big questions people ask me about: what are online classes like, and what's the cost of the program? So I'll cover the cost first, and then I'll just give you a brief feel of what the online classroom looks like, because most students just don't have any idea, or they've taken something of an online program or a class and they think that they know what it looks like, and Moody's might look quite a bit different. So first of all, the cost. Now, just as an FYI, I believe these tuition costs were set last year, so it might have gone up $10 a credit hour for this year, but it definitely gives you a really good, almost exactly accurate kind of estimate of what the program's costs. And so basically the first thing I want to explain is the difference of how the FYOP program works versus the main campus. The main campus, as you all know, costs somewhere in the ballpark of $6,000 even up to $7,000 per semester. So anywhere from 11 to 13, even $14,000 for the year to do a Moody program in Chicago. That means that covers, Moody covers, the Moody grant covers your tuition. Everyone knows that, right? It's free tuition at Moody. But everyone should know at this point that that doesn't mean you have free room and board. It's a tremendous deal. And obviously Moody raises millions of dollars to cover the cost of tuition for students. But one of the ways we offset things is by requiring students to live on campus in the dorms and paying the room and board, so that we have a full campus that can set budgets that are obviously having to be quite exact, being in a nonprofit and ministry training school. So that's the dynamic that you're dealing with. So in that $11,000 to $14,000 a year range. Now FYOP, and it's really closer to 12. I don't think it's as less as 11. I'd say 12,000 is probably the minimum that you spend for the year. As you can see here, FYOP does charge tuition, and with the full cost of the program, it's approximately $10,000 a year. So regardless of anything, whether you get financial aid or not, Moody FYOP is cheaper than the main campus. Now it can be even more affordable than this, and I'll tell you how. Well, if you get scholarships from different kinds, that's great. Those would go towards that, obviously. But Moody doesn't do a lot of internal scholarships. What the biggest thing that people have help with financial aid-wise is the Pell Grant, the federal Pell Grant that you would apply for at fafsa.ed.gov. And you can do that right away. You can even call our financial aid office if you need help doing that. But the idea with that is that Moody actually collects quite a bit of money from our main campus students that get the federal Pell Grant. But the Moody grant, when you get your tuition covered by Moody on main campus, that covers whatever the federal financial aid does not cover. So for instance, if I get the full amount, and that federal financial aid goes anywhere from like $1,000 to $6,000 per year towards your tuition. So let's say I get the full amount because of my family situation, whatever that is. I get $6,000 a year from the government to pay for my tuition. And my roommate John gets nothing from the government for his tuition. We both pay the same amount to go to Moody main campus in Chicago. Why? Because Moody covers whatever the federal government doesn't cover for your tuition. So they had to cover $6,000 less for me than for John, but we both paid the same amount for room and board. Does that make sense? So regardless of how much federal financial aid you get once you come to campus, you pay the same amount for room and board. Now with FYOP, you have this unique opportunity. Now again, if you don't get any federal funding, it is still cheaper by at least 20%, as you can see here. It's around $10,000 a year. It's going to be at least about $12,000 to come to main campus for the year. But it can be even cheaper. So if you do get federal financial aid, let's say I get my $6,000, that comes off of this. So $10,390 minus $6,000 is $4,390. So it can be as cheap as under $5,000 a year to do the program if you get that full amount of financial aid. And you can ask all those questions to our financial aid office. I just wanted to give you a brief rundown of how the costs work. There's no hidden fees. It's the tuition. It's the FYOP fee. This is a one-time FYOP fee, whether you do one semester or the whole year. But it's a one-time fee that covers the things like our mentors and the additional program costs and all the stuff that goes into running FYOP. It's a one-time $450 fee. And then you do have a $40 fall fee and a $40 spring fee for just the maintenance for online courses and stuff like that. That's it. So that's the whole. There's no hidden fees for doing FYOP or the online program. That is how the costs break down. And then what was the other thing I wanted to cover? So that was I know there's a lot of info, but hopefully you can pause and rewind if you need me to answer more of it. But that's the rundown of how the costs work. Now the final two things I want to cover is how an online class works, and then there was one other thing I'm blanking on covering. Well, I'm not thinking about at the moment. So let me just kind of describe what an online class looks like. Um, Now, you're going to cover, these are examples of the classes we'll offer this year. These are not probably the exact ones. You are going to definitely have a number of these, but we usually rotate some of these out um, depending for various reasons. But you get a feel for the types of first-year courses that you're going to take. I think all of these except one or two might be rotated out. But here's what the online class experience looks like for you. Excuse me. The first thing I want to communicate to students is you're going to spend in online classes, you spend the exact same amount of time alone as you spend if you were in on campus and taking classes from all throughout the week, going to class and then you doing homework. Why? Because let's say I'm a full-time Moody student on this campus in Chicago. I've got the norm approximately 15 credit hours of classes. That means you're in class for 15 hours a week. That means I've got class Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for about at least 3 hours a day, because 3 times 5 is 15 hours, right? So I'm in class for at least 3 hours a day. And to get to those 3 hours of class, I probably don't have them back to back, right? So I might have like a 9 o'clock class, a 12 o'clock class, and a 3 o'clock class. And so to get done with those 3 classes, I just went to class from 8:45 when I left my dorm all the way till 4 o'clock or 4:15 when I get back to my dorm, and I might have been able to study or snooze or hang out with friends in between. But my day went from I couldn't go probably work a job, right? So my day was a 9 to 4 that I was in and out of class and doing stuff in between meals, studying, connecting with friends or whatever, right? Then I get to go actually study for my classes because every class has study that you have to do. The benefit of online is you've got the same content essentially and the same homework and the same stuff you have to do now alone. So I'm going to go back to my dorm room alone and go to the library. I'm going to study. I'm going to do that alone. I mean, you can get together with a friend here and there, but I promise you, if you study together 2 hours a week with friends, the 90% of your other study hours are going to be alone. It's just the way it works. When you're writing a paper, you can't like ask your friend every letter that you write. So the reality is you're going to be spending time alone studying, regardless of the fact that you're in class. Now, I'm not downplaying the classroom experience at all. I teach classes both online and face-to-face. I'd much rather teach a class face-to-face because I love people. All people should love people, or you shouldn't be getting a Bible degree at Moody, right? So the idea is that we're not trying to downplay the significance of the classroom experience. We're just saying that we really believe the online experience for this year or this semester for you is going to be really advantageous, and it's totally doable even if you think that you're going to hate it. And I promise you it's not that bad, and you will get through it, and it will benefit you. Another tidbit is that our students that get through the FYOP program, they perform on the main campus better than students that don't do FYOP, meaning that their GPAs are higher than students that don't do FYOP. I believe that's because there's something in the FYOP experience that trains students to just be a little bit more independent and responsible and proactive and just how to navigate things more effectively because you learned how to do it without maybe just asking classmates to do it for you or something or like that. In some ways it's impossible to know all the ins and outs. It's just that the program shows that students that do FYOP, they tend to be a little bit more effective and responsible, and their GPAs are a little bit higher. So that's good news for you. And the other thing is that you actually have better access to your professor during the week in an online class than you have on a main campus class. And now, why is that? Well, first of all, typically students feel bad or it's hard to get a hold of a professor during the week. They're not giving you their cell phones. You're probably not FaceTiming them or Facebooking them or instant messaging them or whatever it is, the modes that they made. The online professors usually make themselves available and deep into the night because they're working at odd hours because they usually have other jobs as well. A main campus professor, usually it's like, well, we'll talk about it in class. And so if you're not thinking of it in class, and let's say you had class Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 o'clock, well, you're finishing up an assignment on Saturday and Sunday to hand it in Monday morning at 9. You're not going to get your professor over the weekend probably to be able to answer that question that you have while you're going, while you're finishing that assignment, even though you had them in class throughout the week. The online professors are much more accessible. In fact, they have to respond within 24 hours, and it's usually within a couple hours that they respond to you. if you have a question of any kind. So that's something that should be really encouraging as well. You have actually higher interaction with and getting needs and questions met from professors in the online format than in the on-ground one. The content is exactly the same. And now, what does a class usually look like? Now, let me kind of run down this for you really quick. Typically, an online class looks like a little different. So if you're going to take, let's say, let's just pretend for a second, these 4 classes are your fall semester 4 classes, okay? And usually, if you were going to do a full schedule, it might be a one extra class, like 5 classes in a semester. But let's just say these are your 4 classes in a semester. You would, on the main campus, you would start those classes in August when the fall semester starts, and you'd end them in December at Christmas break. And they'd go through the whole semester. Those would be your 4 classes. So every week, you're juggling 4 classes, going to the 4 different classes, and 4 different classes as homework, and 4 subjects in your brain that you're processing all the time, and so forth. Online, in the fall semester, you would do the same number of classes, but you would do them less at a time. So we offer 8-week classes instead of 16-week classes. So you're going to do, for sake of argument, let's say these 2 classes in August, they would end mid-October. Then you'd have a week break, your fall break, and then you have 8 weeks with these 2 classes, and then you finish Christmas break. So it's still a semester. You still get the same amount of classes done in the semester. We do typically in FYOP have 1 class in order for you to have 5 classes that spans the whole fall semester. So you're probably going to actually have 2 8-week classes that start in August and then in October, 2 classes that start in October and then in December, and then you'll have 1 online class that goes August through December, 16 weeks, so that you can get 5 classes done without having to do 3 in one 8 weeks and 2 in the other, if that makes sense. We'll explain much more of that later, but that just gives you kind of the structure. Once you get in a class, then, again, most of them are going to be 8-week classes. And let me see if I can actually open one real quick to show you what they look like. So I pulled you in here, a Bible introduction class, which is a typical class that's offered for FYOP students, usually in the 2nd semester. But you can see here kind of how the class is structured. Don't pay too much attention to this. I just want to give you kind of a brief look at what it looks like. You typically then you get your access to everything, your syllabus and schedule. You can click on there and get those details. Then you see everything is scheduled week 1 through 8. So you typically go in and you can see, you know, what is the assignment for week 1. Well, you can see it. We just give you exactly what the week 1 assignment is. And then most professors, I would certainly be included in that, will make a little video just like this, not nearly as long as this. It's usually about 10-15 minutes tops. And I go through each week's assignments, talk about them, talk about the discussion. Each week usually has a discussion board that's where we interact throughout the week on a given topic. And so the students are really interacting, giving your thoughts. There's not the right and wrong answer in the discussion board. It's an effort grade. But the point is that you're interacting like you're in a classroom, and the professor's just overseeing, making sure that it's helpful in the direction you guys are going in. And that's a really fun aspect of the class, is the discussion boards. And that's your weekly interaction. You never have to log in at a specific time. So it's not like we're going to come in and all of a sudden just say, oh, you have to log in here. So you can schedule work hours or ministry hours whenever you want. In fact, because you don't have to go to class for tons of time during the week, it allows FYOP students to be able to work a lot more than students that are not doing FYOP or that are on main campus, for instance, if you want to. Or you have a lot more time to do ministry or something fun, to be honest, if that's what you choose to do. So it just really frees you up in a lot of fun ways. And so just like any other class, you're going to have reading that you have to do, papers that you have to write, or tests that you have to do. And then our professor will help navigate you through. You can always ask the questions throughout the week as you go. You're going to be interacting with students and your professor in the discussion board. And that's typically what a week looks like. When you go to the main page, or we call that the announcement page, this is where the professor will post announcements. So you can see, like, I'll scroll down to week 1. There I usually post what the assignments are. Welcome to class. Class starts on Tuesday, and then I make a little video of myself overviewing week 1's details and so forth. And each week I make a new video. Sometimes I post external content. Hey, check out this article, or check out this whatever I found in the news, or blah blah blah. So that's kind of how the class works. Super straightforward, super well structured. The other thing is that our classes are designed by industry experts in the field. I have actually designed some of the classes for MDL because I work in the department, but by and large, I don't. And that when I have a suggestion though for a class, like I think it should be done this is a bad part of the class or something that could be better suited, I turn that in. And if the committee at distance learning decides that's a good suggestion, all the classes are updated for that. We're constantly updating and tweaking and working on our clarity and our precision and our course objectives that are being clear and helpful, useful for students throughout over the semesters, and they're constantly being evaluated and by both professors and by students. So you'll get a chance to get feedback on the classes. You'll notice that just probably like you've experienced in high school or other colleges if you've done some college already, that Moody main campus looks like a lot of others, where the professors on main campus design their own courses, and that's fine. You want that flavor, and you certainly get flavor from me versus a different professor teaching an online class. When we're teaching, our feedback might be a little bit different. Our vibe of how we explain an assignment, what we're looking for, might be a little different. But the content is going to be sound across the board. Unlike, oftentimes you go to a class on a main campus and you might have a professor go like, yeah, you might have one professor you're like, I really like this person. The next one go like, I don't understand what they're doing. All I know is I've got 2 tests, I got to read 20 books, and I'm hoping that I have some idea what they're talking about. And they have the freedom to do that and run the class how they want. And Dr. Jones and Dr. Smith, they may have classrooms teaching the same class down the hallway, and it might be 2 quite different experiences for students depending on how they do the class. We have industry experts that are structuring the classes in really strategic ways. Also in the amount of time that you're going to spend. Our goal in these 8-week classes are that you spend the same amount of time in week 1 as you do in week 4 or week 8. So that when you have a midterm or a final or whatever papers or assignments are due, you're spending the same amount of time that week to finish that up, or we assign you to start working on it sooner or have specific due dates throughout, so that on week 1 or week 4 or week 8 or week 7, you're not spending like 40% of the time you spend on the course in that final week like you do in a lot of other semester classes on campus, because we really are acknowledging that most of our students are juggling lots of different things, and there needs to be some consistency. So one of the advantages of online classes is that they're very consistent and they're very straightforward, and most students say that, you know what, when I compare them to main campus classes, I always knew what was expected of me, or more often than not, I always knew what was required of me for my online classes. And for the main campus, I usually did, and I loved them. I loved the experiences, but I would always get those professors or those class experiences where I wasn't sure about that, and that sometimes is a challenge. Again, I'm not downplaying anything on the main campus. You're going to have an amazing time at Moody in the classroom and outside the classroom. But I do want you guys to have somewhat of a respect and an appreciation for the online experience, because it is a great one. And I regardless of how well you think you might have not done well in the past or aren't cut out for online classes, I promise you can do it. You can be successful if you simply put the same kind of effort in as you plan to put in on campus, and you will do absolutely fine. I have never seen a student that puts the effort into simply doing the assignments and getting the stuff in on time. I've never seen a student not just get through FYOP, but to do absolutely just fine and to transition to campus just fine. So it's just a matter of putting the time in, and you will be wonderful, I can assure you. You'll have your moments, you'll have your questions, you'll have your challenges, but you will make it through and you'll be better for it, I can assure you. I think that is enough of me talking. So if you have any other questions, this was kind of an overview of FYOP. And again, the reality is you guys have a very unique, wonderful place where you get to decide whether you're going to do the FYOP year for the full year, or you're going to do it just for the fall semester and transition the main campus in the spring, or you can choose to do nothing this fall and just come in the spring. But we highly recommend that you at least do FYOP in the fall and come in the spring, so that you're not behind in classwork when you do come, because that would end up requiring you to stay an extra semester at the tail end or whatever else. So if you have any questions, I gave you my cell number at the beginning. Contact me. You can also email me through the email that you'll get this through. I hope this is helpful for you. Welcome to Moody. You've gotten this offer because we want you. You're an amazing human being, and you're a student that we want at Moody Bible Institute. So you are part of the select few. There were less than 20 students offered the spot that you have been offered. So this is not something that we just like, here's all the students that didn't get into Moody and you come. You are an elite group of students, and you need to know that. And that God has amazing plans for your life, and we really believe that that place, from looking at your applications and weighing it up before the Lord, is at Moody. And we hope that you will make the decision very soon to put in your deposit and to go from there and to join us officially. So if you have any questions about that, you can call Moody Distance Learning or the admissions office. That would have been on your pamphlets, or you can always just call the main line at Moody and tell them your situation and ask to talk to somebody. But please make your decision as soon as possible. We had an original date at June 1st. Obviously, for most of you, that's going to be impossible. But we'd really like you to let us know within the next week or so, if at all possible, what your decision is, so that we can move forward. And don't forget that July 8th to 12th is the date in Chicago that we're inviting you to come for a week. Completely understand if you can't come, but if there's at all a way that you can come, please be there. I will be there. I'd love to meet you, see you, hang out with you, and get to know you. And with that, let me pray for you. Jesus, thank you for these students. We bless every single one of them. Bless them in their decision making. Thank you for their heart to apply to Moody Bible Institute. We honor what is on their life and what we see on their life and what we want to help foster and grow them in their ministry education at Moody Bible Institute. So we thank you for them. In Jesus' mighty name we pray this. Amen. All right. So text me if you need me or email me. Talk to you soon. Bye.